Tim Sells here. In this series of videos, I'm talking about new rep training, the bridge to the pipeline. In this particular video, I'm talking about intention, and this is part 1. The first and most important lesson for new reps or reps who need to start over. All right, so let's jump in here. So in the last video that I did, I talked about this as a concept, and this is the bridge to the pipeline. And I am a network marketer is the first step, and it is a concept that the person has to get, and I'm going to dive into this particular video. So this I am has to do with identity. It's who you are being. All right, and so that's the primary concept that I'm going to be running through here. And regardless of what a person pretends here, what they spend their time doing makes up their identity and what they harvest. In other words, so after you generate a lead and contact them, set an appointment to see a presentation, follow up, get a customer or a rep, you make money. Okay, and so that's the harvest. That's the end result. And so that's what I mean here by what they harvest. They must get their identity and what they do in alignment. All right, and so that's really what this topic is going to be about today. So I'm going to crisscross between different words. All right, and they're going to mean the same thing. It's just grammatically where you say them is what can be confusing. But I want you to just always understand that when I'm talking about identity, when I'm talking about I am, I will, any of these things, it's all the same concept, which is its intention to get something done. Okay? All right. So how to make an identity. Intention creates identity because it's coming from you, the real you. It's not something from your past. It is something that you're saying, I want, I will, I'm going to be. My intention, my aim, my target, my whatever. It's this direction, right? And so intention is what you aim to be, to do, and to achieve. All right? And so that originates from you. Identity first requires intention. In other words, if you just think about it for just a moment, you kind of see this. And so you ever see something and you start getting an idea towards it, right? It's that moment when you I don't know, I just think about my wife, Laura, and when it was in a training call. I hadn't ever met her before. I think I met her on the phone or something like that. She was doing a training call and she was being trained by somebody. And when she picked up the phone and her hands were shaking when she was calling somebody, but yet she still did it, was that idea that just hit where I got an intention that I like her, right? And so it was like, wow, she's a qualifier. That's kind of like what I thought in terms of wow, right? And so it's that initial, it's that first thing, all right? So identity first requires intention. A person who does not assume a given, I'll get a little more descriptive in just a second. So a person who does not assume a given identity will find themselves being a bit outside of the activity and giving or looking for an excuse or reason to quit or hide in any area of life. And so what I'm talking about here is that sometimes people are handed an identity and they never really quite said, yeah, I accept that identity. And so let me give you a couple of examples here. So somebody's health, right? And so, like you're a kid and you're running around, you're doing things and stuff like that. You don't ever even think about health. A little bit later on, maybe you put on a couple extra pounds or something like that, and your body is your body, right? And so you never quite say, you know what, I need to do something about this, and then have that intention to do something about it, right? Person becomes a mom. A person becomes a dad. So it's a boy. That's not the end product, right? That's the beginning. And if you do not assume the identity of being a dad, then these things you're going to feel a little bit outside, right, of the activity, and giving or looking for an excuse or a reason to quit or hide, right? And so you got to really take on that dad position and say, well, wait a minute now. What's he going to need from me? What do I need to do for him? What are my responsibilities as a dad? And then write them up. Look at that list and say, I will. I am a dad now. All right. And so that's the concept that I want you to get. And so then, it's kind of like the goal was to get married. Now we're married. What does that mean? Right? So now you kind of go, all right, so what does she need from me? And you start asking these questions like, on Valentine's Day, what do you prefer? You know what I mean? Like, you got to find out what needs and wants she has. Otherwise, you're a selfish guy. You know what I mean? And so these are the things, you say, all right, I finally got accepted into college. All right, so what do I need to be in order to be a good student? All right, so what does that look like? I'm going to have to kind of open up some space in my life and put being a student in the center of that and say, okay, so it's going to require homework. It's going to require me sitting in class. I'm going to need a tape recorder so that I can re-listen to the lectures if I need to. I'm going to need books. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that, right? So that's what I'm talking about when you are assuming an identity. Job, religion, citizen, network marketing. Each identity has responsibilities that must be assumed and done, or you suffer. Okay, you can go back to any of these and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you look at examine those and just think about where you've done something like stepped into an identity and didn't do what you should have done. Okay, so that's that's why I meant every area of life. And sometimes people think, like they don't even view this as an identity. All right, so that's the biggest aha. Somebody signs up in network marketing, they buy their kit and they go, woohoo, I'm in blank company, right? Well, that's only the beginning, right? So that was the easy stuff to do, right? Okay, so what intention looks like in network marketing. Now that I've given you all of these examples in other areas of life, let me talk about this. And I want to I first named this slide the hierarchy. But then it didn't really make a whole lot of sense because there is no sub-hierarchy. And so you are what injects life into your business, and only you. Okay? It is your responsibility, period. You make the space for your business. And I'm going to get into all of these as I go up that bridge to the pipeline. I'm going to explain all of those later. You decide the time to allocate to it. You decide to know all about it. And that means you're going to create the space in order to know all about it. You're going to create the time to know all about it. You decide how many reps you'll put across the pipeline, right? You decide what you will harvest. This is what I am is all about, all right? So it's you have to be, I am, I will, all of these things. I am a network marketer. You see, it's a list of the responsibilities, and then you say, I am all of those. I will do all of those. Okay? I am responsible for the total outcome of my business. And once you take that on, you could never say, my upline never helped me. You see what I'm saying? In other words, it's the company, it's my upline, it's the price of the product, it's the this, it's the that, right? It goes away when you accept full responsibility. When you accept full responsibility for your children or for your marriage or whatever it is, I'm totally responsible. And that is where you take ownership and say, I got this. I am. You see it? Or you are who doesn't do these. There is only I will or I will not. And that picture down in the corner there is William Shakespeare. Made a very famous quote, to be or not to be. And there was no in between there. It's to be, I am, I will, right? Or I will not. Okay, so that's kind of the way it's a dividing line. And in network marketing, people kind of do a slide skid in there. You know, I'm sort of in and out, and I'm in at the convention, but I'm out right after the convention, that kind of thing, right? So no, you got to really just put it down and say, I will, I am. Okay, so intention line. And this is just something that I've just always viewed it this way. I am or I will as an intention line. Now, you guys have seen me in other videos pull out this yardstick and say, okay, so there is a stated intention. You can see them on websites. You can see them with what people say, you know, like maybe in the media or something like that. But then you see and you plot what they do, and it's this way. And you say, this is what they say they are. This is what they're really doing. Something's amiss here. And I see it very often also in network marketing. And so I view I am or I will as an intention line. It means when I say a line, I'm talking about a direction and a plotted dones. So sometimes the intention line could be, let's say, a yardstick. It could be a cotton string that's strung out a little bit longer. Okay, so it's kind of weak, right? Weak as in W-E-A-K. Maybe paracord, right? And so in the military, we use paracord quite a bit in setting up tents and things like that. When you're camping, you use a paracord. It's a lot stronger than a yarn, but yet again, it's not what I envision. I envision a zipline cable, okay? So like a really big, fat cable and very, very long. So it's very strong and very long, okay? So when you go about building a business, you got to really like throw that thing out there. It's like with having children, well, you know you got 18 years, right? And so you got to throw out that intention out at least 18 years, right? So that's kind of the concept and the idea here. So when you look at the thickness of a zipline cable, they're really big. The strength runs in a wide range, but let's say 3,000 pounds of strength. That wouldn't make it, and that wouldn't make it. Okay, so it's the concept of this, okay? So, all right. So to give you the concept of intention, I want to have you really own this. And I most often feel intention when I'm working out. Okay? And to build muscle, you have to go past failure, or at least to failure. Okay? So if you can imagine, I'm going to do, 12 reps of something. Let's say it's overhead press. I'm not going to do that because my jacket will pop. And so let's just say that the first 10 do nothing for me. It's only reps 11, 12, and when I try to push to 13, I can't get there. But my intention is trying to blow through there. It's not muscle, it's intention. Because most of the time when I see others work out, they're not blowing through and hitting a failure point. Okay, so they just kind of do the reps and call it good. But the only way to stimulate the hormones that are going to say to the body, you know what, he's trying to do something we've not done before. We're going to have to grow some more muscle. So you got to do that. So what gets that done is your intention when you feel as though you can't do it. Right then is the moment when I feel intention, is when I'm pushing against it, right? And I know that I took my muscles to failure, right? So that's the way that I feel it. And I'll never forget when my wife, we were having our first child, and the midwife was saying she needed to push, but it hurt to push. And I'm sitting there kind of like, I don't know what to say. And then I heard her go, all right, I got this. And then I watched her close her eyes and push. And I knew that was pure intention because her body didn't want to push. You get this idea about what intention is. It is something to where you push through regardless of the noise, regardless of the pain. You decide to push through. Okay, so that's what a strong intention is. But oftentimes when you make a decision to do network marketing, or you make a decision or something that, hey, she's the girl or he's the guy, it's not strong. It's just you see something and there's a boom, right? And you get the intention. All right, so I just wanted to explain both of those before I go to this next one. So this is a Zipline cable. Do you see it goes way, way down there to that building right there? All right. And so this is the way I like to see it, is that my intention is carrying my body there. I don't care what the body says. I don't care if I've never done this before. I don't care if I don't know what to say. I don't care, because my intention has already been thrown all the way out there, and it's more powerful than any noise that's in my head, or any discomfort in talking to prospects, or I don't like it. Well, you'll like the harvest, okay? That's the reason that you decided, okay? So a lot of people think signing up is the same as the intention line, but not necessarily, and I'll tell you a story in just a minute about myself. Okay, so sometimes, often, after somebody signs up and I'm talking to them, I say, how do you feel? It's almost like we get on a Zoom or something like that, and we go into the back office and we order the products. And so after it's all done, I ask, how do you feel? I'm looking for something. Okay? I hear them say, I'll see how it goes. Oh, I'll give it a try. I'm just sticking my toe in to see if it works. It works. I guarantee it doesn't. Okay? Like what is it? Remember, it's you are the one that gets it all done. It's your intention overcoming the resistance of your own body, your own past. When you ask somebody to dance and they said no, or you ask them to come to a party and they said no, or something like that, right? I hope I get lucky. I actually heard that one. I hope I get lucky. Luck. Can you show me Mr. Luck or Mrs. Luck? I'd love to see him. What's the return policy? That was the most telling of all comments I ever heard before. You know, so it's like, well, if it doesn't work, I'm going to return the products. Well, 30 days. Why don't you just go ahead and return them? Let's go ahead and cancel that order. Okay. All right. So, all of these are very soft and mushy intention lines. You can see it, right? And so that's the way I like to, I'm always assessing those kinds of things. And you'd be surprised what just a question like, how you doing? It will end up kind of dribbling out of a person's mouth. And they'll say these kinds of things. And so what it does for you is it allows you to plot on the intention line versus the done's line. Okay, so done's, not done's, things like that. So here is, this is kind of like me using this saying stated objective. And then when you plot done's, then you can now say, hey, this is what you said, this is what you're actually doing or not doing, right? So plot your dones, half dones, not dones on an intention line. It shows you your intention, not necessarily your outcome. So in the very beginning of this video, I started off by saying that your intention and your doing, they're very different, okay? Very different. But they need to be in alignment. So your intention and your dones, okay, need to be plotted out. And that's how you estimate future. And anytime I do like focus meetings and things like that, normally I do this. I plot these things on an intention line. And what I always end up back to is intention. I have to go back to there because that is weak. It's not a strong, long intention. All right. So I said this in the beginning, but I just want to give it to you now that I've walked through all of those different changes in words. Same concept. Identity, I am, to be, I will, intention, intention line. All of these things are the same concept. The main point is your intention originates from you, not your past. And that's probably one of the most things that I have to differentiate with people while I'm talking to them is that, well, I just don't feel comfortable at it. Well, get comfortable at it. That's what I will is all about. And if I say I won't, then fine. If they say I won't, fine, good, quit. You're done. Because if you won't do the pipeline, you won't talk to people, then you can't do the pipeline. So therefore, there's no such thing as any type of success. All right? So I'm not rude that way. I'm more just kind of letting them know, hey, it's like, this is what's required in this profession and every other business ownership that you'll ever be around. Your intention is senior to everything because you can change it at any time. And you are the only one that can change it. All right, that's this moment where you kind of go, wow, that pretty much sums it up. And I love it because I can always change my point of view. I can always change my intention. Whatever problem situation is going on, I am always looking to how to outthink it. I'm not trying to resist it. I'm trying to outthink it. Because intention is senior to everything. All right. So you can always change your mind. If it's all you could do, you just change your intention. Okay. So, but this is the same concept for all these kind of things. But the main thing is that intention. You put it there, you can shift it, you can do whatever you want with that intention because it's yours and yours alone. So, how'd this happen for me? All right, so this was about maybe 2 years before I got into network marketing. All right, so that's a lobster, a pretty large lobster when you look at it in the size of my arm. And you can see this boy. He could dive, he could defuse bomb, he could shoot, he could do a lot of things, but none of them were marketable. And he decided that he wanted to get out of the military. And so Rick Mayo was the person who ran an ad in the Washington Post that I responded to. And this is back in 1989. I looked at the products and I couldn't relate. They were skincare. Rick followed up. I left, by the way. He followed up. I said I couldn't afford the skincare. He replied, "How long have you been saying that?" And I was rude to him. Okay. I thought that was a very rude comment, and I let him know that I felt as though that was rude. And then he said, "Okay, all right, I thank you. Perhaps it is rude, but could you answer the question?" And so I kind of said, well, I've been saying it my whole life because my dad said it my whole life. And when I realized that, I realized that I was just repeating something that I'd heard my whole life. And so he invited me to come to a meeting to see a Dr. Wong, right? He was a research chemist. So I was at the time in Maryland. And there was a research chemist at NIH in Maryland named Dr. Wong. Okay, and so that is him. He had 2 PhDs and he was a research chemist at NIH. All right, so he had broken English while he spoke, but during that conversation, I heard him say, "Last month I earned $88,000 for the month." That's all I remember. I didn't hear anything after that because I went in here and I began to compute what that meant annually. I began to ponder that I had signed up for college courses and was wanting to get an education, but here he sits with 2 PhDs at the absolute top of the education game. And at the top of, from a profession standpoint, he was at the top of his game, but there was no way that he could ever make $88,000 in a month doing what he was doing. And I was beginning to question why I had chosen to go down the education route. And the only answer I could come up with is that I have no marketable skills. So I could dive, I could jump out of airplanes, I could defuse bombs, I could do a lot of things, but they weren't marketable skills that I could go out and make money with if I wanted to start a family. Okay, because I could go on oil platforms and things like that, and I could weld underwater and I could do those things, but it didn't align with my intention to have a family. And so no marketable skills. And then I asked myself, where else could I earn $88,000 a month? And my answer was nowhere. And so right then, that intention line formed. Okay? I would have challenges with it, of staying on it at different times, but I ended up staying on it. And everybody always asks, like, Tim, how did you have such fast success? And it's pipeline, you know, but my intention was so strong because I wanted the outcome of the family. Okay? That was what I really, really was after. And I wanted to, like I had spent a lot of time creating, like 11 years or something like that, creating the education that I had, but I needed to replace that and fast. And so I figured an education, but if I could get to an income like he was talking about, then I don't have to have many months of $88,000. That's kind of the way that I was thinking about it. So this is how and when I created a strong and long intention. And I just wanted to give you a story about it because it didn't happen on like when I was looking at network marketing. It happened a little bit later, you know, like at the new point in time when I went to that meeting. And so I bought the skincare kit. I got rid of all of the noise that was in my head because of that strong intention line. And that is what does it. Okay. So strong and long intention can come in any time. Which are you? I am, I will, or I am not, I will not. I appreciate you watching. Please comment down below and let me know. Tell me your story. You know, like you can just write a brief thing and just, you know, tell when you hit I am or I will, right? Or if you said no, fine. Okay. So that's why I can so easily let people go without feeling a loss, is because I want people to be where they want to be. And so, so again, thanks. And if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and comment. And if you know anybody that could use this information, please share it with them. Thanks so much.